Hi, so welcome to a session of Trophy. I'm super excited about running this game for our Gauntlet Hangouts. I'm super excited to play with our awesome players today. So we'll do introductions first. My name is Jamie, they, them pronouns. And Trophy is currently on Kickstarter. It is by Jesse. Oh my gosh, I'm like blanking on the last name. 1 second. It's like here in the PDF. Jesse Ross. There we go. So it's a really, really amazing game. I'm super excited to run it. And also very excitingly, there's an open SRD, systems reference document, if you want to make your own games rooted in Trophy. I have like 4 games I'm working on that are rooted in Trophy because I love the system that much. But I'm excited to run Trophy Dark for everyone today. So let's go in character keeper order, I think. So let's start with Garrett.
Hello, everybody. My name is Garrett. He, him pronouns. I live in Germany, and so English is my second language. And therefore, sometimes I need to look something up secretly in the background or use verbs and adjectives, especially in Trophy, which are very imaginative, a little bit wildly. Sometimes that leads to interesting role-playing situations, which I think is fine. So my character is Daian, and Daian is a witch. Daian is he, him, by the way. I should note that down somewhere. And Daian was a priest formerly and then defrocked. And that is not the only mishappening to his family, but also his brother is locked in Barsul prison. And I really, really want to get him out there because it's a terrible place. Fortunately, I have a very high skill in rituals, and I'm very good in finding paths, and I can project myself in spirit form to a remote location. That has turned out very helpful in the past, and I'm sure it will make me survive the forest.
Absolutely. You are quite confident entering the forest. And next, let's hear. So, second in character keeper, let's hear from Robert.
Yeah, hi, I'm Robert. I use he, him pronouns. It is currently 5:20 a.m. for me, so a little bit early, but I've had my coffee, so I should be good. But if you do notice me looking around a little bit on camera, my cat is extremely confused as to why I'm awake before she is. So she's getting used to it. I'm playing as Elisio. Elisio is a royal, formerly, well, what at one point was in a cult, escaped from the cult. Escaped is kind of a weird word because I think he probably left the cult. I think there's a cult that like maybe worships like the ancient Khaldur or something. And his drive is to publish discoveries from ancient Khaldur. And the ritual he knows is channel, which is to allow a spirit to act through you.
Very cool. And I just want to double check. So is Elisio using he, him pronouns?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I'm going to include pronouns also in the future version of this character keeper. And then last but not least, it's also pretty early for Maria. Go ahead.
Yeah, I am Maria. I use she, her pronouns. It is like 4:25 here, but I haven't played Trophy yet, so I was really excited when I saw this. I also am recovering from having the flu, I think, so if I just like randomly start coughing, let's see. I am playing Kasien, and I think he will also be using he, him pronouns. He is a ranger, pretty good at being in the forest, I think, at least he thinks, has survived so far. His background is a disinherited noble. So for some reason that I haven't figured out quite yet, his family disinherited him, and he's been learning how to fend for himself. And his drive is to earn the respect of the governor of Fort Duhrin in the hopes to like regain nobility, probably. And the ritual that Kasien knows is bind, hold a person or animal in place, which kind of helps as a ranger.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. So just as a reminder, our safety support tools are lines and veils, script change, and the open door policy. If we need to use another rule, another safety tool, just let me know. Whatever everyone is most comfortable with. Okay, so I will read out our introduction. There is a story the children tell each other when the adults are sleeping and dreaming dark dreams. They say there's a king waiting for the children in the heart of the swamp. They say there's a witch who knows the way, pointing with a fingerless hand. They say there's a horse, skinless and toothless, who will let you ride her to the king. They say there's a mother, childless and eyeless, who will grant you any wish. They say many things, but once the children tell this tale, they go missing, never to be seen again. So will you enter the swamp and relieve it of its treasures? Will you demand your wish to be granted from the twisted king? Will you survive soul intact, or will you join the swamp and the king's rotting subjects? So as the camera pans, we see our 3 treasure hunters. And out here on the edge of the swamp, the air is still somewhat cool. There's just a very light mist. But there you can hear the animals in the forest. You can hear the birds in the trees. And off in the distance, you can see that there's this little hut. It's a very small hut. And I actually want to ask our witch, Daian, when was the last time you visited the witch who lives here at the edge of the swamp?
I was a child when I was last time here. That was such a long time ago. I'm quite old now. And I was here and playing with the toys. And the toys of a witch are of very special kind. Roots usually taken from the ground, taking up the shapes of things which you usually would find in a palace. And I never understood what this witch has to do with a palace.
And so the last time you saw the witch, you remember that she looked very old. In fact, a part of you wonders, could she even possibly still be alive? And as the 3 of you move closer, you can see that there is a young woman who's moving about in the hut. She comes outside. She's dealing with various errands. She's bringing out things and attending to her hut. And so for a moment, our witch, Dan, sort of suspects, oh, this must be another witch. But when you take a closer look, it looks exactly like her. She's just younger, more beautiful. So her hair that was once white and short is now long and dark. Her eyes that were once milky and tired are now bright and sparkling. Her hands, which were once curled in pain, now move easily. And she sings under her breath. What do you do?
Wait, friends. This can't be the witch I visited a long time ago, but still it seems she is. Let me stay back for a moment. I need to calibrate.
Would our other 2 treasure hunters like to step forward? Or will we leave the witch alone?
Yeah, I think I would step forward. I'm a very, I don't know, as a royal, I'm sort of full of myself. Just imagine, that of course I'll step forward and insert myself into this. And so I would just walk forward and say, excuse me, we are, at least I am seeking passage deeper into the swamp. You seem like you know the area well.
And she turns to look at you. And she says, yes, it is exactly as I dreamed of. You look slightly more handsome in my dreams, though, she says, smiling at you. But she's obviously teasing. And she says, but I forget my manners. And as she says this, You look at her clothes, and even though she's wearing very simple clothes, they look very expensive. They don't look like the kind of clothes someone on the edge of a swamp would wear. And you can see that there's this beautiful jewelry that's peeking from underneath her clothes. And when she sees your eye on it, she covers it a little bit. And she says, "My name is Alina. And yes, I do know the area. Is there something I can help you with?"
Well, I mean, we seek passage deeper into the swamp. We've certainly you've heard the tales told of the swamp and the treasures that lie within, and no need to cover up your jewelry. I am seeking treasure, but I am no thief, so worry not.
She smiles a little ruefully and she nods. "Ah, yes. Forgive an old woman," which is strange for her to say, considering how young she looks. Forgive an old woman her old habits. Yes, I do know what you seek." And she looks a little sad for a moment. "I do not know if you would still like to have it by the time you reach the heart of this forest, but I do know what you seek." And she bids you to come in. "Why don't you come in for some tea? I will help you." And so she goes in. She's already starting to brew things. She's preparing. You can smell the herbs from inside. Will you go inside?
Yeah, I will, and I think I'll kind of gesture to the rest of my party. Or actually, no, not gesturing is too simple for a royal. I would just shout out like, "Tea time!"
Kasien, you may enter, but give me the opportunity to check out the area. What do you think?
Do you not think that it is merely the daughter of the witch that you once knew? Like, can you not just be imagining this resemblance?
Maybe you can ask her.
Very
But my
well.
heart tells me a different story.
Very well. I'll say that you are seeing to our animals and cover for you.
No, hush, hush. Our dear noble is waiting, and they are not used to wait.
He can deal with that. My family can deal with that. Nobles aren't worth really as much as they think they are worth.
So as our royal enters, so it's a very humble hut, but it's very cozy. There are lots of things crammed into every single space as much as possible. There are books, there are papers, there are little crystals, there are bits and pieces of plants all over the place. But there's also like shining, glimmering things of beauty tucked away. But you can see there's one part of the hut that has a lot of space, and there's just it's like a glass vial that's covering, but you can see through it clearly enough. It's just that the glass is a little smoky, the glass is a little old. You can see that there's one crooked gray finger inside of it, and it's just sort of like hanging in the air under the glass. And as she sets out 3 cups, she sets up 4, and she pours enough tea for everyone. And she says, "What you are seeking is the hand of our king who once ruled this land with kindness and love. But he was a king who was taken advantage of. There isn't much left of him in the heart of this forest, but if you can take away one of his fingers, well then, your wish will be granted, and the rest of the treasures nearby may seem to be not as bountiful."
That certainly sounds interesting. And as she's talking, I'm just kind of walking around and poking like into like just reading like the edges of all these books and things, and just kind of looking around. Um, do you have any advice for if one wanted to secure one of these fingers? Not that I'm in the business of stealing one's fingers or anything like that. There are rumors that those who pay their taxes late lose fingers, but that is just an old tale told by criminals, I should say. So I am not in the business of that. But if I were to get into the business of stealing fingers, those from long dead kings, or hopefully I don't know if he's dead, how would one do that?
Well, it's a different journey for each one of us, she says. And so, in hinting at the fact that she's not the only one who has one of these fingers. And she continues, but there are many of us in the forest who would seek to help you, though some of us may ask for a higher price. You must simply avoid the guardians of the king. But one must simply be very quiet, or very charming, or very brave. And I am sure you are all three of these things.
Of course. I pride myself on being quiet and not talking out of turn. And of course, I am wise beyond my years and charismatic as they come. So none of this should be a problem for me. I look forward to finding the secrets of this swamp. It sounds quite thrilling. I've read tales of treasure hunters from long past years, and it's always sounded so fun and exhilarating. I've never actually come out here to the swamp myself, so I'm really looking forward to it.
And so she listens to you and she continues to sing your praises and compliments you. But our witch who's outside, Daian, he notices that behind the hut, you can hear these strange sounds. It's sort of like something is being dragged across the swamp floor. And as you get closer, it's difficult to make out. It looks like a figure of some kind because there's like a lot of foliage. There's a lot of trees that are bent over, hiding this away. But you can see that they're dragging away someone who's not moving. And as their hand falls over, you can recognize the ring that the old witch used to always wear.
I will catch that figure. Whoever is dragged there, I will catch them by getting there fast and quick and with all my courage.
As you move there quickly, so I will be very transparent and give you one last chance, because if you must come closer, you will risk ruin of the forest as the corruption shows you what horrors await. Are you sure you want to step forward?
I'm sure I want to step forward. My ruin is very low and I'm very safe here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So as you get closer, as you move swiftly through the trees to the back of the hut, you can see it looks like a person who's wearing a large cloak. In fact, you recognize. I want to ask Elisio, what did the cultists often wear? Like, what did their robes look like?
I think they were like very bright and shiny. So like a purplish color on the outside, and then on the inside of the robes, it's kind of like silvery, very, very, very showy.
As far as cults go, was this a very secretive cult or like a open secret kind of cult?
I think it was. I think it was mostly secretive. Because I think the cult was like mostly. It's not for adults. Like I think once you reach of like adult age, you just leave the cult naturally. So I think it's kind of like an open secret. amongst those in it. But like to those who don't know about it, it's just it's just like school age kids, like teenagers just being teenagers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so what our witch sees, what Daian sees, is there's someone who's wearing one of these robes exactly as described, purple along the outside, but it looks very faded, very tattered. It's full of stains. And as you get closer, you can see that they're pulling away what really looks like, for all intents and purposes, to be the old witch. And she's struggling, like she's trying to claw away the hands that are holding her, but the hands are actually in her mouth, like they're silencing her at the same time as they drag her away. And the hood falls over, and you can see that their skin is rotting off of their face. There's a sickness over them as they wheeze. And as you get closer, I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's very gory, but let's just say that parts of the force have decided to live in this body because it's mostly decomposed. So we shall have to roll our ruin to see if you're able to stand through this. So what we do is, let me share the screen of our roll for a party. Here we go. So just roll one dark die, and all you need to do is roll lower than your ruin.
Nearly.
Okay, so what happens is you will gain 1 point of ruin, and what happens next is, oops, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, that's right, I did it right. So as you reach it, tell me, how does it harrow you when you see this? Like, what are you thinking when you see her being pulled away by this thing?
It's Alina, the real Alina, and she's still alive, and I can still see the pain she has gone through the last hours, and I remember the goodness she once was to me and my family, and when we came here, and my cousin was with all this pain as well, but it's uncomparable to what she has gone through now. And she cured my little cousin, and I was there playing, and she gave me a cup of tea, and now it's tea time again. And who is sitting inside in this little hut there now with my fellows, while I have to witness this terrible vision of Alina from the past.
And so as you realize it, you get closer, and this figure only has to look at you. They're reaching for you as well. And even before they touch you, you can feel it like just sort of pour from them. It's like this, it's like gravity just shifting towards you. And you can feel your skin becoming tight. You can feel your breathing becoming labored. And when you look down at your hands, they're starting to grow old and gnarled for a moment. You can feel the bones starting to creak. But when you blink, the sensation is gone. But I will place here that we now have a condition for Dan. That your body starts aging in different places, in different ways. It comes and it goes in waves. But you see the strange being in front of you. You see Alina being dragged away. Do you want to try to do something about it?
I still feel the drive to rescue her and to get her attention. If I can't get her out of these figures' hands and their hands out of her mouth. So yeah, I still try to drag her back and get her, not letting loose of her, and yeah, try to get her attention, getting whatever I can with my body and pull against.
Mm-hmm. And do you think you have a skill that can help you to do this? Because I'm actually thinking, I'm looking at our skills that we have here. I feel like I want to apply, like, maybe a ritual that could protect you, that could at least sort of like keep it at bay and distract it while you grab her. and run. Does that make sense to you, or do you have a different idea?
Well, we are still close to a place I once called home. So for me, dragging somebody back to their home, that would apply my skill home to some degree here, because that is something which goes very close to my heart. And I hope that I can avoid using my ritual to observe a remote location, because actually replacing my vision to a place elsewhere, just leaving my body doing the work here, that would be my way out here to avoid seeing what I don't are supposed to see.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
But let's hope that I can just.
Yeah. So we have 1 die for your skill in home. And so I also want to offer you a bargain. So any of us can offer a bargain. This is a really fun point in Trophy. All of us can offer things. I'll go ahead and start. My bargain for you, and a bargain, by the way, Devil's Bargain is no matter what, this will happen. So regardless of the result of the roll, this will have to become true. My Devil's Bargain for our witch is that no matter what happens, you will find out. You will find out that part of why this is happening is because of your brother, that he had something to do with what's happening in the forest. Do we have any other bargains from Robert or Maria? Oh, I can also copy and paste the possible bargains just so that it's a little easier. Here, let me copy and paste into the chat so we can see it. Here's one. Let me just copy the rest. So the first one is causing collateral damage or unintended harm, getting lost or separated from your companions, sacrificing an item or piece of treasure, betraying a fellow treasure hunter. That's pretty intense. And also attracting the attention of wild animals, forest spirits, or monstrosities. So as you notice, my bargain doesn't fall into any of these categories. So these are just guidelines to help inspire you. I know it's so hard to think so early in the morning. So
Yeah, it's 12 p.m. for me. So
yeah. So you and I are okay.
Peak energy, and I'm very happy with that. All of this has something to do with my brother. Indeed, yes.
Ooh.
It has. And I will figure out.
Yeah, what that means.
Yeah. So I take this extra die.
Sure. And no pressure on anybody else. If we don't come up with a bargain, that's okay. Because I noticed when I run this, people can get really tired by the end because they have to keep thinking of so many bargains. So no need to force it. Okay, so you take the extra white die. If you're willing to risk mind or body, you can take an extra dark die, or you can just decide to do that after, depending on how the roll goes. So
yes, since I could always just do that afterwards. And I want to survive. I will not add that die now. Ooh. No.
Okay,
no. A double one.
Okay, so what happens is you add a dark die and you reroll all three dice.
Yes. And now I try to project myself away to a better place. And there is usually something from my childhood. So I project myself back to this wonderful well where I usually played with my cousin who survived thanks to Alina. And there I am, back at this well at a better place in this world. And this is a 6 now. And that's a success. And means that's what I want to keep.
Yeah, an absolute success. Did you get to re-roll the other 2 dice?
Yes. I don't know why they turned out again.
Guess what? Wow, this is this forest. Okay, so since your dark die is also the one that rolled the highest, your ruin goes up again. So now your ruin is at, let me double check.
At 4.
Yeah, whew, okay.
It went quick.
Yeah. A little meta. I noticed it tends to go up quick and then it sort of like strains at around 5, like, because it's but yeah, we'll see. That went up quick. So what happens is as you project yourself to that memory, to that vision, you are there at the same time pulling Alina away. There's a moment where the vision falters and it breaks, and you can see your cousin starting to age in front of you. Like his hair starts to grow long, his eyes start to grow milky white, and you hear him say, "No, no, don't go into the heart of the forest. No, no, don't. No matter what happens." And then the vision snaps away, and you're back here. But you rolled a 6, so tell me how you succeed at this task, like how well it goes for you.
I get Alina, the real Alina, out of their hands. This wannabe cultist disappears in the fog, and I carry in my arms this half-alive body, half-eaten by the forest in my hands, but I carry as quickly as I can this body into the hut to disturb this little tea ceremony there with my presence, and I scream, "I have the real witch!"
Yeah, and as you do that, so the two of you, I imagine we're at least a little shocked at what's happening, because your witch friend is here with this old woman in his arms, and this old woman looks like she's been through a lot. There's like leaves and stuff in her hair. She's breathing hard, and when you look back at the other woman, the younger version of Elena, she is no longer there. Instead, there is a crow that is sitting where she once was, and you just hear the crow say "Caw, caw," and it just flies out the window. What do we do?
I hope you didn't drink the tea.
Well, it would have been rude not to.
The tea tasted very good.
I mean, there's extra here if you'd like me to pour you. I mean, not that I like to play the role of host or anything, but, you know, somebody's got to now. I could pour you some tea. It's quite nice.
This is hardly the time for tea. Our host has just disappeared, and our friend is back with this clearly distressed body.
Kasien, is there anything you can do for her?
I don't.
Like, just...
She's just...
Don't worry. In this case, I'd say as a hunter, you probably know basic first aid and things like that. You don't have to roll for it. Like you'll be able to. No worries. You're not risking ruin here.
I was like, yeah, I think Kasien will go over and just like kind of like try binding some of the injuries, and look around like the witch's hut for some like herbs or some like common things.
I will say that if you look a little too closely at her wounds or what lurks inside the hut, you might risk ruin. But you can tell me that you're not going to look too closely and that it's okay.
Oh, I will look too closely though, because if I'm gonna try and like fix this woman up, I'm gonna try and do a good job of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in that case, just take 1 dark die, and what you're trying to do. So as you take a look closer, as you have to like move her clothing a bit to make sure you can bandage certain areas. You can feel that there's this buzzing sound inside of your head that's getting louder and louder. So let's try to roll with, usually it's a dark die, but it can be any die. As long as you roll lower than 2, you're fine.
I rolled a 2.
Wait, let me double check the numbers. Ruin. It has to be higher. It has to be
Okay.
higher. So because since you rolled on the dot, you are okay.
Okay.
Isn't that exciting? Doesn't it feel great?
Yes.
But you still see what you're just able to stand strong in the face of it, basically. So you notice that there are parts of her skin. It looks like it's so difficult to describe. It's almost like there were suckers on her skin, right? And they were trying to like pull something out from underneath. And you can see in some places her skin's a little bloated, like someone or something was trying to push things under the skin instead. But you're able to keep calm. You just very calmly, like you find something sharp in the kitchen, you sterilize it. You're able to quickly tend to her. You release whatever was inside. It's just dark and wet, and it moves very slowly, and it retreats back into the forest once you release it from her body. But she is already doing better. She's breathing much easier. Her eyes open up, and she lets out a breath, and she says, "Thank you. I couldn't have done it without your help, young Kasien," she says. But this is the first time you've met her, and you don't know how she knows your name.
How do you know my name?
And she blinks a little bit, and she says, "Oh, has this not happened yet?" She says to herself. And she says, "Oh, I apologize. My name is Alina." And she looks towards Daian, and she says, "Oh, but I must know you. I've known you since you were a child." Thank you for saving me," she says. I'm a little confused. I'm an old woman in this hut, and sometimes I'm not sure what's truly happening. She smiles a little sadly.
Who did this to you? Do you remember anything about that?
She nods and she says, "They were after that." And she points towards the glass case where the finger was. The finger is no longer there. And as she looks at it, she looks crestfallen. And she says, "Well, they have it now." And she starts to explain about what it is. But as she looks at a royal and she realizes the royal knows what she's talking about, she says, "I see they've already talked to you about it. There are certain people, certain beings who live in this forest that do not want us to have access to the old king's magic. Perhaps I was foolish for wanting to have it."
Well, I mean, the young woman who was here, she sounded very, very helpful. She seemed like she wanted to help me to, go in and get this old magic. So, I mean, I don't like to, get in between, two people squabbling or whatever. But she seemed quite helpful.
Elisio, you can't trust anything here. We are too close to the heart of the swamp. There are things which aren't what they should be. And by the way, the figure which tried to drag the real Alina away was wearing a cloak from the cult you were once a member of. How can you explain that?
Well, surely, perhaps he acquired this cloak by nefarious means. Nobody of the children of Khaldur would ever engage in nefarious activity like that. Well, I say we, I am no longer a member of the cult. They would never do something like that. Surely either he stole the cloak or his mind is simply gone.
I think Kasien kind of like laughs because I think as from his old life before he was disinherited, he probably knew a few of the people of the children of Khaldur and was like, "I've heard some stories. I think that you might not know your fellow cultists as well as you think you did.
Well, perhaps, there could be some some less reputable members, but it is no. The cult themselves surely is not responsible for any crimes that have been committed this day.
Let's ask them ourselves. We can follow the traces into the fog, deeper into the swamp, which will probably also bring us to the king.
Yes, you do know that the the children of Khaldur often spoke of this king and his generosity and kindness. So it's quite likely that this is the case. Okay, so what we're going to do is, unless someone would like to do something in the scene, we'll fast forward a little bit and bring us closer into the next ring. We're going to travel through 5 rings today. Well, we're going to hopefully make it to 5 rings today. Is there anything else you'd like to do in the scene first before we fast forward?
Fine.
Okay. All right. So, but I assume that you're going to make sure that the witch is all right. Everything is okay. I will also say that Elisio, you actually do find some interesting things in the hut, but unfortunately, you'll need to have more research to make sure that that any of this could be really useful. But the witch is more than happy enough to share it with you, to share anything with the 3 of you. So you have some extra supplies. She makes sure that you're going to be okay, and you press on into the forest. But I will also say, because our condition of Daian, because I recalled like you hit like the dark die was the highest one, right? So the ruin did go up. And so tell me, which part of your body is now permanently aged? Like it's much older than the rest of you.
That goes to me? No, to
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
to me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Permanently.
yeah. Well, semi-permanently. Let's put it semi-permanently. I'm not going to be super cruel.
Well, my body hair is all white, including my eyebrows and my beard. And I'm losing hair slowly, so it's very old and very thin now. It's not this attractive type of white.
Yeah, I only say that because I realized I forgot to, when you rolled a 6 and it increased your ruin, it's also either adds a new condition or deepens the condition you have. So yeah, so that's where it came from. But yeah, so you move deeper into the swamp. You follow the trail. Our ranger will have an easy enough time following the tracks. They're not trying to hide themselves. The tracks are very sloppy. You can see like every so often they stumbled and they fell and they placed a hand on some of the trees. And as you go deeper and deeper, closer and closer to the heart of the swamp, the air is getting thicker. Everything is much more humid. You can hear the buzzing of insects nearby. You can see large snakes moving slowly in the undergrowth, but they get out of your way as you move closer. And as you follow the tracks, they stop for a moment, and then you see that there are more tracks in the area. They start to converge together, and they start moving in a line, and you can see in the distance these cultists are gathered in a circle. There is a fire that's burning in the center of the circle, and we see that Daian's brother is in front of this fire, and he is dressed. They're all dressed in these robes, but they're all in varying states of decay for the robes. Like some look bright and shining, others look as bad as the one that Daian saw face to face. You can only assume that maybe it's the same thing for their bodies, but the hoods are like covering everything. They're all chanting softly, murmuring to themselves. But Daian, your brother, who you knew is in Barcel prison, you saw him in the prison before you left. And yet your brother is standing there in the middle of the circle. And you also see among the cultists, Kasien, you recognize that the son of the governor is here as well. And the son of the governor is asked to step forward. And Daian's brother asks, "Are you ready to sacrifice your all, brother, for the sake of power as children of Khaldur?" I'll also say, Elisio, you know this stuff never happened when you were in the cult. Like this kind of stuff is like, it's not normal. I'm just gonna, in case it wasn't obvious, I'm putting it out there. So what did the three of you do? You could try to engage or interfere, or you could just try to gain what information you can here. You can try to sneak past them. There are lots of however you want to approach this situation.
Is Daian's brother asking the son of the governor to sacrifice himself, or?
That's his wording. You
Okay.
don't know what it means just yet. You haven't seen anything dangerous come out yet, but the way he worded it is very worrying. Absolutely.
Can I try to sneak closer, kind of like through the underbrush, like with my hand on the blade of my weapon, on the hilt of my blade, just like ready to somehow interfere if the governor's son tries to like kill himself or something, because that seems like I don't want to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're able to do it. You get closer. You know how to move silently. You leave the other two behind. In fact, I'd say you move so quickly the other two are not sure where you went for a moment, but then they're able to see where you are. You go through the undergrowth. You notice that this close to the ground, it's supposed to smell like wet earth. It's supposed to smell like leaves. But right now it smells like perfume and sweet meats. It smells like the freshest water. It smells like it's not supposed to smell like this at all. And as you get closer, you can see that the leader of this group, for all intents and purposes, Daian's brother, shows this beautiful ornate little box, and he opens it, and inside are these beautiful jewels, one sapphire, one emerald. And he says to the governor's son, "You only must give us your eyes and see with new eyes, and you will be granted wisdom beyond measure." And he gestures towards another of the cultists, and they come forward with a very small, very beautiful knife.
Can I use my ritual of binding to like keep the governor's son from reaching out to grab those jewels and or knife?
Yeah, absolutely. I assume you want this to stay like stealthy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying like maybe the risk is that you might get discovered depending on how this goes. So I'm going to give you have to have one dark die for every ritual you cast. Do you have a skill that you feel will help you in this situation?
Getting my skills. Well, I do hunt traps, which I think I've maybe used or learned how to bind people or animals as some sort of supplement to my like physical ability to trap animals as a ranger. So maybe I just have honed my like the specificity of the binding.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
absolutely.
it's not obvious, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, so you have 2 dice. Does anyone want to offer a devil's bargain?
I think a devil's bargain might be that you bind more than just the one you're trying to bind. Like maybe they're all of the same mindset, or they're on the same wavelength. So when you bind one, you bind several of them.
I like that, actually. That's a pretty cool bargain. Garrett, do you have a bargain?
I'm happy about that one.
Sure. I will also offer a bargain. My bargain for you. I'm going to resist the usual jammy bargain, which is someone falls in love with you, or you fall in love with someone. I do that all the time. Because I was like saying, "Oh, the governor's son." Anyway, my bargain for you is that no matter what happens, you are going to attract the attention of an animal of the swamp that is going to be very interested in you and your magic.
So I can pick between the multiple bargains or take none at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of want to know what happens if I like accidentally freeze
everybody,
other people as well. So I think I'll take Robert's bargain.
Sure. So that's 3 dice in total.
Let's see. So
well, it's a 4. So wow, should we like put these dice away? Have they been won this whole time? I'm gonna put them in prison over here. We're not gonna roll with them for a while.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, that's terrible dice. But 4 is the highest, and your ruin goes up. So let's see. So you are now at ruin 3. But tell me what this ritual looks like. So a ritual is a really special moment. Tell me how it happens, what it looks like, and I will tell you the complication that occurs. So keep in mind that, like Robert said, you're going to freeze everybody in place as well.
I think that the ritual is probably like I'm in the like shadows looking directly at the governor's son, but also one of my hands that's not currently on my sword is like drawing in the ground with a twig, just like some symbols that include like a circle at the same time as I'm just like focusing really hard on like the intent that I have, which is to keep the person from like binding themselves, which maybe since other people are thinking of the same thing in pursuit of that wisdom, manages to overflow into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as you do this, you can feel the magic pour out of you. It's almost like the magic is so eager to do more than what you intended. But you notice that as it starts to bind everybody, the only one that doesn't seem to respond well to the binding is who Daian recognizes as his brother. And I don't think Daian has actually told anybody yet, right? That your brother's there. For all intents and purposes, your brother's there standing. So this person, for a moment, it looks like he's becoming still, but then slowly his skin starts to deflate. The hair starts to fall from his head, and he becomes smaller and smaller. And the body, anyway, do we need to script change anything? Are we still okay with what's happening? Just checking. Okay. So the body starts to deflate. And you can see the face just sort of split down the middle. And then there's this very small being that comes out of it. It looks emaciated. It looks very thin. It looks very starved. It has very large eyes. It kind of looks like Golem, right? If I'm going to be honest, it kind of looks like Golem from Lord of the Rings. So like he's sort of bent over and his eyes are like wild and you can see his little teeth coming out, but his teeth are pure black. And when he opens his mouth, you see the tongue is black as well. And he says, "Oh, I was just getting to the good part. How dare you?" he says. "What do you want?" "I took this body fair and square. It was given to me from honor, from a place of promise. This body belongs to me."
That body was my brother's body. It doesn't belong to anybody, and in no prison.
"Oh, but he had a good bargain. In exchange, he got another body he wanted. Who are you to speak for him?"
I am his brother, and I'm here to set him free, truly free, without any bargains from creatures from hell. Go away, creature. If this spell can't bind you, then you shall not be among us. Go away.
Ooh, this sounds like you're trying to use your skill of rituals or omens to scare off this little creature. Would you like to do that, or
Yes.
unless our royal would like to step in and command the creature to do something?
I would love if my royal commander could do that for me, because my voice is a little bit shrinking at the moment.
Yeah, I think seeing what's going down. Yeah, I think I would step in, and especially since he was kind of taking command of these cultists here, I think I would step in. "Well, surely you are not a member of the Children of Khaldur. I once was. I am rank 2. Formerly of the Children of Khaldur, I am the only one here who has any authority to command anybody to do anything now that you are so apparently an imposter. So I command you, foul beast, be gone from this place, be gone from the Children of Khaldur. Leave us in peace."
Amazing. Okay, so the only reason I'm asking you to roll is because there might be something that will defend him. So we'll see. I'll give you 1 white die. I'm going to get the 6 here. So to apply to your command skill, I will also offer you a bargain. And my bargain for you is that this is not the first time you've met him. Your family has made a bargain with him in the past, is my bargain for the story. Do we have any other bargains from Garrett or Maria?
My bargain would be that in your long speech about your family heritage or whatever, you reveal that your family has once done injustice to my family.
That's good. I like that. Maria, do you have anything?
I don't think I have anything to add to those 2 really good bargains.
That's fine. That's fine. So we have 2 bargains. Would you like to take any of them?
I do like the idea of Garrett's bargain of my family having done some injustice to his family.
Very
So
cool.
I will
I like
take
it
that one.
too. Okay, so you can roll with the 2 first, and then later you can decide if you want to risk your mind or body in the process.
Okay,
Ooh.
we got a 5.
Yeah, you got a 5. Would you like to keep the 5 or would you like to re-roll?
Yeah, I'll keep the 5.
Yeah. Okay. So you do succeed. Tell me what happens. How does he respond when you command him in this way?
I think he's kind of taken aback at first because he's probably not used to being spoken down to by the likes of of just a plain normal, especially a noble, a royal. And I think it's kind of like it's almost like his undoing, sort of like this demon survives off of just sheer intimidation. And I think as quickly as he was commanding us, now that he has been commanded, he sort of just kind of dissipates into the tree. Maybe he even turns into some other animal and just kind of is off into the trees.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as this happens, as he scampers off, the three of you, it starts to fully hit you what horror you saw, like the skin falling apart and everything. All three of you were able to act brave in the moment, but now as the adrenaline is starting to leave your body. So I'd like to ask everybody to make a ruin roll to see, that's just a complication here, to see if they were able to keep it together. So just take a dark die or any of the dice. As long as you roll lower or equal to your ruin, you're fine. How are we?
I rolled a 1.
Oh,
rolled
nice.
A 4.
Ooh, is that higher than your current one?
It is. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so to 3, we'll say what condition incurs in a bit. How about our witch?
I rolled a 4 and already have ruined 4. So
Okay,
I stay where I am.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I like how it makes sense because it's Elisio that had to talk to this thing face to face, probably. So what happens is, Elisio, as you were talking, as you were giving that speech, and in this moment, as you're recovering, you sort of realize that you felt like you could hear another voice that sounded kind of like your voice, but it's very small and it's very soft and it's very stretched out, this voice. And there's an itching on your palm. And when you take a closer look at your left hand, for a moment, it looks like it's opening up a little bit, almost like a mouth that's going, but then it closes back again. And you surely just imagined it. It couldn't have been that a hand showed, that your hand suddenly split into a mouth. Yeah, you're fine. So I'm going to put here under conditions, hand mouth, question mark. Okay. And as you are, but the three of you are able to get your bearings. Everybody is still frozen in place. But you notice, you see, in fact, I would say that Daian sort of recognizes the cultist that had tried to drag away our witch earlier, the one that was like rotting away. But you notice that when this horrible little creature moves, everybody whose skin was looking bad, it starts to heal up again. Everybody starts looking much better when that horrible little creature is far away from everyone. But they're all still frozen. What would you like to do about them?
I can probably unfreeze them if we want to talk to them.
Please don't.
I mean,
but we should get these jewels, these eyes. They might lead us to the king and his hand and his finger and so on.
Yes, we should grab the jewels. But it seems like their poisonous leader leaving has affected their state, so perhaps they can also tell us more things if we were to unfreeze them.
I don't trust anybody anymore here, especially not you.
Me?
I just
Elisio.
I don't know that they will be. I don't know if they will be in a very good mood. Let's say, being unfrozen and finding out the deception that has occurred. So I think maybe it is best that we take what we can and leave them.
I will say that, Kasien, you do know that after a while they will become unbound again. They'll be able to move. So it's not like you're leaving them frozen forever. Just to put it out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you take the jewels. Who would like to keep the jewels on them?
I'm very well versed with rituals. I should keep the jewels.
So when you take... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And I also don't want to have Elisio to carry them, because I just realized he must have been with his family when they hung my older brother.
Yes, absolutely. So you take the jewels. When you take the box, it almost feels like you can hear a song in the back of your head, just a very faint amount of singing, and you realize that the jewels are singing where you should go next. They sing, carry on, carry forward, carry on, carry forward, until the 13th tree, until the star starts to rise. Like it's starting to sing the directions that will help you to go deeper and deeper into the swamp, closer and closer to the heart of the swamp. And that's where we're going to... Oh, sorry, you were going to say something? And that's where we're going to end ring 2. And on that note, I think it's a good idea to take a break. So let's take a 10-minute break. But before we take the break, how are we doing? How are we feeling about the game so far? Okay.
Super good.
Cool. So let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. I will see you guys in 10 minutes. Hello, hello. Hi, sorry it took a while. Things got a little. This way. Slightly lost track of the time, but yeah, Maria, did I forget to give you a condition when your ruin went up?
I think so, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So the ruin went up. Oh, when you were doing the binding ritual.
But,
is that
yeah,
right?
because that was high.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah. So, but I just want to check in. How's everybody doing? Are we good to jump right back in? Okay. Awesome. So, as you go in deeper, I'll say that what happens to Kasien, you notice that as you are moving further and further into the swamp, that your legs are kind of like you're not in pain, but they're moving differently. Like there's a certain gait, but it's very slight. You're not sure what's happening. And when you look down at your feet, it looks like for a moment that something is wrong with the shoes on your feet. But when you look closer, you realize you don't really have feet anymore in the way that you remember. Instead, they look like like the hooves of a deer instead, and that's why your legs are bowed slightly different. But you're not in any pain, and it's easy enough to hide your feet from everybody else so they can't see it. So let me just go ahead and write down cloven feet so that we can remember what condition we have. But no one else has seen it.
One thing I wanted to do before we leave this scene is I want to take one of the cloaks for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So you're able to take it. You put it away. I kind of assume you want to take one of the nicer looking ones, but
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I would just like straight up put it on. Like at this point, I'm feeling all high and mighty, having commanded this demon away, and remembering my old cult days.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so as you go in deeper and deeper into the swamp, I will say, what kind of discoveries is Elisio hoping to make? Like, what has he been searching for? What does he need proof of?
I think it's the whole tale. So the young lady that I spoke to in the hut, kind of confirming, like I didn't even have to feed her, some of the, oh, have you heard of this? Have you heard of that? She just kind of substantiated the claims that I've heard. So like even just the idea of there being a king in the forest and that whole concept. I hope to bring back some kind of proof that there is a king in the forest.
Yeah, we can even say that the children of Khaldur, the cult, they're one of the few who still believe in the king and that he existed and still exists. By now, history has gotten a little muddy. You know that people have been trying to erase the fact that this king even existed in the first place. So with that in mind, as you move forward, you notice that there are crows that are starting to amass in the area, which is strange. Crows don't usually hang out in these swamps, for one thing. And as you move deeper and deeper, you notice some of these crows, their eyes are especially bright. And you realize that they are black jewels that look down on all of you. And it sounds like they're just cawing, but it almost sounds like words. It almost sounds like they're saying, yes, the king is waiting. Yes, closer still. And as this happens, the jewels, the eye jewels that our witch has, that Daian has on his person, they keep singing and they keep telling you to go deeper. You're very confident about where you're supposed to go. In fact, the jewels are good at helping you avoid certain parts of the swamp. You can see clearly how it is helping you as you go deeper into the forest. But in the distance, there's a sound that's almost like a scream. It's a sound that happens when someone takes a deep breath before they scream, and then suddenly it stops. And the sound keeps happening again and again, this interrupted scream again and again. And you feel like you can feel like as if the trees and the swamp are sort of like closing in on you. And in the distance, you can see this broken, twitching figure. Like it's moving with one shoulder up, the other one starts to drop. And then it looks like it tumbles onto the ground and suddenly it's back up again. Like it's skipping somehow, like it's moving very awkwardly, very painfully. And it keeps coming closer to the three of you. And you can hear it moan, for the king, those who dare come close, I kill for the king, for the king. What do you do?
Don't listen, don't listen. We just follow the jewels. They're showing us the way. We should ignore everything here.
Do you want to make sure you lead everyone on the right path, perhaps? Away from this strange being?
I have to. That's my duty here. Without me, they would be lost.
Absolutely. It's true, especially that royal who can hardly keep himself in check. So you have one. I assume that we're going to use your path skill. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. And I'm also worried about that Kasien because he is going so strangely, like moving so strangely since recently. As if he has a broken ankle or something.
Yeah, it must be something like that. He must have sprained it for sure.
Yeah.
So you have one white die from your skill. Mm-hmm. We can also offer you a bargain. My bargain for you. Oh, yeah. Oh, do you need to go already? No worries.
No, I might need it. The bargain.
Okay. Yeah, I see. So the bargain I'm offering you is that no matter what happens, that thing that's there, that being, it will see one of you. It won't attack you per se, but it will see one of you. That's my bargain. Does anyone else have one?
I'm fine taking this one.
All right. So that's 2 dice. And then let's go ahead and roll, and then we'll see if you want to risk mind and body in order to succeed.
No need. I have a 6.
Nice. Perfect. Okay. So on a 6, you do it perfectly. Tell me how you get past this strange figure and how you lead everyone to safety.
That is that I have seen this trunk of a tree. And in my backpack, I have some certain herbs, which I won't tell you the name, because that's one of the secrets the witch circles keep for themselves. And I place them there. And I know for sure those creatures won't be able to pass them. And so I trick them behind the trunk. And then we follow our path again.
Yeah, I love it. So in the interest of fairness, I will roll to see who this being notices, which among our adventurers. So I'm going to roll a d6. I'll just say 1 to 2, he'll notice Daian. 3 to 4, Elisio. 5 to 6, Kasien. So that's fair. Okay, so I'm using this die here. Rerolling. Did it change? Yeah, did it just change? I think so. So it's still a 3. Yeah. Yeah, so it means it. Ooh, it noticed Elisio. So what happens is, as the three of you are moving, you can just feel it looking at you. Even though its back is turned towards you, even though it's moving away because the witch has successfully led you away from it. And so when you turn around, you can see that all these eyes start to grow along its back, and all the eyes blink slowly at you at different times. And you hear the voice, a voice that sounds like yours, but is not your voice, coming from your hand, that says, "It belongs to us. We can tame this creature. We can make it work for us. We can become more powerful this way." So I'll need Elisio to roll a ruin roll to see what happens with this voice that's talking to you. So you just need to roll 3 or lower to not increase your ruin.
I rolled a 5.
Ooh, okay. I love Maria's face. Okay, so your ruin goes up. You are now at 4, is that right?
Yep.
Okay. And what happens is when you look down at your itching hand, you can see now that teeth are starting to grow from the palm, and it looks like a part of it is starting to turn into lips, and it's smiling very sweetly at you. Do you respond to the voice, or do you ignore it?
I think I ignore it, and actually, even like now I've got this cultist cloak on. I'm just kind of like wrapping the cloak up. Like I just kind of keep it wrapped around some of the cloak, like trying to hide it away.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, but because our witch did so well, you were able to completely stay away from this being. You're able to move deeper through the forest. But you do notice, um, that there are people here that are just standing in the forest and standing in the swamp. They're not moving. They're just standing facing the trees. Some of them are looking up towards the trees. Some of them are just right in front of the bark, their eyes just straight onto it. And when you take a closer look, they're all wearing the tattered robes of the cultists. And Daian, you notice they all look like your brother. You can see their faces very clearly. There are about a dozen of them, 12 of them.
No. The swamp is playing tricks on us again. Don't look there. Don't go there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just move on. And Elisio, why are you looking at your hand constantly?
Well, back there in the clearing, I must confess to you. I did put my hand in the mud a little bit, and I'm quite ashamed that it's become dirty.
Ah, noble problems. I hope, Kasien, you were never like that.
There's a reason I never quite fit in. So, what are all of these people? You seem like you know them.
They look like somebody very close to me. But it can't be. That person is in a prison. Because of nothing. Because of a minor crime. And one of these creatures told me that they had a bargain with my brother, which can't be the case. He's a strong believer in white magic. Would never do anything with these dark souls down here. Let's move on quickly. Let's follow the jewels. I can already sense the hand coming closer.
As you say that, as you move away, you can hear all of these men who sound like your brother, who look like your brother, but assuredly are not your brother. All of them speak at different times, saying, I wish for freedom. I wish for power. I wish for vengeance. I will kill him. I will kill him. I will kill him and drink his blood. Over and over and over they speak.
All right, enough. I will visit my brother now in his cell. I will go there as a spirit projection. To be once and for all safe that it's not my brother who is here.
Okay. Shall we perform this ritual?
Yes, we have to.
Okay. So that is 1 dark die first in order to perform the ritual. Do you have a skill you would like to apply?
Yes, I have rituals. Performing rituals is a skill.
Yeah.
How convenient is that?
It's very good. It's very good. So that means 1 white die, 1 dark die. And let's offer bargains. My bargain for you is that no matter what happens, one of these versions of your brother will follow you to help you. Do we have any other bargains to offer?
How about you can, wherever your brother is that you project to, isn't prison, but it's somewhere bloodier.
Say that again.
Wherever you project to and see your brother, it's not in the prison cell, but he's like surrounded by blood.
It brings so much horror.
Robert, do we have a bargain or?
No, I think I was going to go along the same lines that, you project to him, but it's not in a prison. So kind of along the same lines as Maria.
But without the blood. That sounds more my taste, yeah.
Yeah, we can tweak any of the bargains, no problem. So if you want to say he's somewhere else, maybe without the blood, that's also okay.
Yeah, I leave it to you where.
Yeah,
then he... But actually, I think I go along without I will just go for, and that is because me as Garrett like the idea of having a version of my brother still following me. That is so horrific. I want that, although Daian will hate it.
Yeah. So that means you have 2 white die and 1 dark die.
Yes. And there we go. That's a 5.
Ooh, that's good. On the white die too.
But
so
a 5 is not a success.
Oh no, it's still a success, but there's just a complication.
I don't like complications.
Do you want to try again? You could always... Oh, okay.
Yes,
so you can add another dark die and roll again.
My magic
and
is
roll
white.
all the dice. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is white magic. I don't have complications. Okay.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
That's a 6. And does that count as a ruin roll? Because
yeah, because it's... Let me double check.
I
think
it's
reread
the highest. Alone.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, equal to or higher than the highest die. It is considered a ruin roll. So it does increase your ruin. Your ruin will now be 5.
Is it automatically? No, it counts as a ruin roll, right? That means
yes. Yeah, it's automatic.
It's automatic.
It'll increase the... Let me just double check the wording.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. It counts as a ruin roll as described under ruin roll. So it pulls up your ruin by 5, but at this point you're also able to decrease your ruin. So that's not so bad. Okay. But you get a 6, so it's kind of worth it,
Okay.
In fact, I kind of have a house rule where I allow critical successes if you have two 6s or more. So I will let you tell me what happens. You take control of the scene. Like, what do you see when you project? What does the ritual look like?
Beside all the horrors, I'm able, because we are brothers, to project myself like in a haptical way into the cell where my brother is, and is lasting for being set free, is hoping for my return. And so he stands up and we embrace each other and are close and feeling our bodies for real. And that feels so good that I feel comfortable going back into this swamp. And as it turns out, I now know what I have to do, because I have
Ooh.
ruined 5.
Yeah. Okay. I will also say that before you go back, like as your brother is holding you tightly, he says to you, I don't know how much longer I can hold that, brother. I have these dreams, these dark dreams, that I'm in a swamp, that I'm there, and that I'm doing terrible things, violent things, but you believe me, brother, right? You know that I'm a good person. I would never do those things. I know that you can help me. I know that you can get me out of here. I know you're the only one who believes me. Thank you, brother.
I have to thank you. You have sent me on this journey for a good cause. And together with my companions, we will find the hand and get a finger for you.
Yes, brother. But I will also say that if you take an entire hand for yourself, wow, imagine the good we could do.
I'll be back.
And then so you go back to the forest. You notice that when you come back, so everyone else who is watching the ritual, you could see that as he was gone, I have to ask, like, do you leave behind your body kind of, or do you disappear completely? So you leave your body behind.
I stand still.
Yeah. And so you notice that all of the other, these quotation mark cultists, these people who are standing there, you hear that side of the conversation. You hear everything the brother said. And they're all talking in one voice. And then they stop. So you hear what they say about if you had the whole hand, brother. But yeah, so you come back. We also deepen your condition.
This is like brother talk, you know.
I will say what happens is, actually, I think that's a condition enough, having another brother hanging around. I think I'm gonna put that as a official condition so we can see what happens. So let me write it down. Another brother follows me. So you'll see that this one, he comes up to you and he looks at you and he thinks for a moment, and he's not speaking. He's the only one you've noticed that hasn't talked like the rest. And it's like he's asking you a question with his eyes, and you can see himself making himself younger, making himself older, making himself the age your brother is now. He's asking you, without using words, how old do you want him to look like?
I want him to be the friend of my childhood. He was a little bit older, so yeah.
Yeah, so he turns his head and he starts to try to change his face into the childhood friend that you remember. But what he ends up with instead is like half of your brother's face, half of the childhood friend. It's like mixing strangely. But he looks good. It's not ugly, but it's a little uncanny. But he looks around that age that you wish. And then he silently takes your hand and he starts leading you deeper into the forest. I will say, though, that you are at Ruin 5. Would you like to try to reduce your ruin before we go into the next ring?
Well, I think I will survive. I will find a good opportunity to reduce my ruin.
Later. Okay, just let me know at any time when you'd like to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so that everybody knows in case it comes. So for the reduction roll, when your ruin reaches 5, you may now reduce it by destroying treasure, sabotaging your fellow treasure hunters, or preventing the use of rituals. You should do these acts in a way that does not draw attention to yourself. The more it looks like an accident or simple bad luck, the better. And then from there, you can roll to see if you reduce your ruin. But yeah, so at any time you can tell me when you want to do it. Okay? So we move in deeper. We are now entering ring four. And as you go here, this part of the swamp feels lighter. The air smells fresh. It feels like you can feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, even though by this point the sun has already started to set and the moon is starting to rise on the other side. But the warmth you feel is undeniable. And as you walk through these trees, you can see lanterns hanging, these beautiful lanterns of lights hanging from the trees of different colors. You can see that there are doors that are in some of these trees. Some of these trees have windows. And as you walk deeper and deeper, it starts to look like the inside of a castle, of a palace, slowly coming together. And you can see that there is this large table filled with all of this food. Lots and lots and lots of food. It smells absolutely wonderful. In fact, I would say our royal has an easy time recognizing such a grand spread for guests here. And at the head of the table, Elisio, tell me a bit about your parents who are royals.
I think they are like, it's not like the king and queen or anything. I think they're like lower level royals. So they're members of the court. So I would envision it being like, actually no, I'll even say my dad is like the court jester. So it's along those levels. So I've been like around the royals my entire life. So my father is like the court jester, and my mother is maybe like a handmaiden for one of the princesses. So they're very court adjacent, and so I've always grown up around the royals.
I see. Okay, and but you see your father and your mother. They are at the end of this table together, holding hands, and they are dressed in such finery. They look like a king and queen themselves, and they look very, very happy. But it's just the two of them. You don't know what they're laughing at. You don't know who they're listening to. They both look like they're talking to people who are not there. What do you do?
I think I would turn to my traveling friends and say, well, that appears to be my mother and father over there. So I think we're on the right track. If they're here, then we're in good company. And they've set out this grand feast for us.
Are you hallucinating? Your parents can't be here. We are far away from civilization.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen them in some time, and you know, they are royals themselves, so they're capable of travel. You know, they have money, they have people to bring them to and from places. So surely they could be here.
You already know the forest has tricked us before, and as you see, I mean, Daian has a brother? So, the forest lies. The swamp lies.
This is true, but what greater trick is there than the truth? We expect it to be a trick.
That's a twist.
It's
Royals.
perhaps you should ask them something that only they would know.
That is a good idea. And meanwhile, I mean, this feast looks decadent. So please help yourselves. I'm sure they wouldn't mind.
All right.
Not gonna try that food.
If you say so.
And yeah, I would head over and I will hail my mother and father.
And as you come closer, they see you and they say, "Oh, Elisio, I'm so glad you could join us. We were worried that the messenger would not reach you in time. We apologize. This party came together rather quickly. We would have wanted to wait for you to come back from your expedition, but we simply had to. The Duke and Duchess are here. I would love to introduce you to them," your mother says. And she turns to face nothing. There's nothing there. And she stops for a moment. "Oh, Duke, you're such a kidder. That's such a good joke. Isn't it, Elisio?"
I may have, maybe I didn't hear the joke. I don't see anybody there, Mother. Are you sure? Are you sure you're okay?
Yes, Elisio, what a silly thing to say, my dear. And your father comes closer to you and says, now, Elisio, don't embarrass your mother in front of our guests."
Well, you know, I've had this long journey to get here, and I mean, surely you've also had a long journey to get here, and you assuredly did it quicker than I, which only makes sense. So perhaps I'm just tired. I'm sorry. Where are my manners?
Yes, that's true. Elisio, my dear, why don't you eat first? Surely you must need your strength before you see the king.
Yes. Before I eat, Father, do you remember the advice that you gave me before I left for the expedition?
Oh, yes, of course I do. But you can see his face is twisting a little bit.
Well, because you specifically told me about, you know, eating with the commoners and what to eat and what not to eat and what I should be, you know, food preparation for my journey. And you specifically said not to eat cooked food on the journey. Here we are with a table full of cooked food.
Oh, but this is entirely different. This is for you, Elisio, and it's prepared by your loving family, he says. But you can see that as he's saying it, he's starting to twitch a little bit. And you can hear that second voice of yours coming from your hand saying, "He's lying. He's wearing a face that doesn't belong to him."
Yeah, I think I will just turn my back to them and walk back toward my friends. I think I just have a somber look on my face.
The food is good.
Yeah, it's really delicious.
I think you were right. I think that is not my mother and father. I'm not sure who it is.
But at least
but
the swamp serves us some good food.
This is true. I mean, the tea I had before was quite good as well. So at least the service is good. But I don't believe that to be my parents. I just have a feeling. They are not what they seem.
Is that a problem for you? You know,
Well,
I just saw like 12 of my brothers. Well, and the 13th you hanged. Your family.
Well, had he not committed a crime, he would not have been punished. You know the laws.
What crime
No,
did you do to be punished by seeing your parents here in the forest?
Well, I've committed no crimes. I have, I've been around people who've committed crimes, but who has not?
What did you do as a cultist?
We read poems. We did a couple casual sacrifices here and there. It's just cult things.
With Kasien, we have at least one innocent person here with us. Kasien might need to lead us to the king. Right?
Kasien, I think, is just gonna not say anything. Do we really need innocence to lead us to the heart of this twisted forest? That seems perhaps not what the forest seeks.
Possibly not. But I can promise you, it's better to be ignored by this forest.
It seems like that.
I have bad news for you, by the way. The jewels got stolen. They just disappeared.
In fact, you see that there are crows all around you again from above. And instead of the black jeweled eyes, each of them now has one green and one blue jewel in their eyes instead.
I secretly put them into the grapes.
Oh, do you want to make a reduction roll?
Please.
Yeah, go ahead and make the roll. Perfect.
That's a 2. That means I have a reduction, and I'm back to 4.
Perfect.
I might survive this ring.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, as it happens, you can hear Elisio's parents. Elisio, darling, aren't you going to come back? Your mother says. And as that happens, you notice that. So you had pushed the jewels into the grapes. You notice that the food is starting to move by itself a little bit. You see that there is a grapefruit. It's a pomegranate. A pomegranate that opens up by itself. And then you can see that there are fingers that are pushing out and become a hand. And you can see that there's something that's trying to make its way out of the food. There's several of them. I need everyone to make ruin rolls to see how they handle the situation. So once again, you only need to roll equal to or lower in order to not increase.
I got a 3, so I'm good.
Nice.
I rolled a 5. I'm back on 5.
Well, at least you didn't hit 6, though. And how about Maria? Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that.
I rolled 3. Sorry, I was muted. So
yeah, no worries. So you say, wow, poor our poor witch who lowered it and then it went back up. So what happens is your companion, who looks like your brother but is not your brother, he reaches out a hand and he smashes the fruit. And you can see the fingers trying to get away, and he breaks the fingers easily, silently. And you can see that once he does that, all the other parts of the body start to retreat, scared of him. And your brother, who is not your brother, looks at you, seeking your approval.
I just shrug with my shoulders. We are too deep into the forest, into the swamp, to be worried about such things by now. Things which have to happen.
And he sort of smiles, like he takes it as you being proud of him. So he's like, he looks pretty proud of himself. But yeah, so we can, of course, walk away, but how will you convince these people who are quite likely not your parents to leave you be? Or how will you sneak off without them noticing?
Mother, father, you know, you sent me on this journey. I need to finish the book. I need to find, the ancient discoveries. I need to discover about the true king. Just like I've always told you about since I was young. You know how important it is to me.
And you can see that your mother was not your mother, looks heartbroken. She like clutches her chest. Elisio, how could you talk to me like that? Are you saying that this is more important than your family? And she starts sobbing. And your father, who is not your father, looks at you and says, "You must take that back at once."
And I think I will, like, pull the cloak tighter, kind of brandishing the cloak almost so they can see it. And mother, father, you've known this for quite some time, that the family that I belong to is the children of Khaldur. And I must commit to this. I must find what is out there. You've known this for quite some time.
Okay, so would you like to try to see if we can convince them, whoever these beings are? Do you have any skills that you feel would be appropriate?
Maybe deception.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. So you have one white die for deception. Let us offer a bargain. I will say that no matter what happens, you'll find out a dark secret about your parents, and it will explain why these two are here. Do you have any other dark bargains to offer?
You will, for a very short moment, see your real mother through the creature's eyes and see her disappointment in you as a whole being.
It's okay. Which one will you take? If you don't have to take any of the bargains, but would you like to take one of them?
Yeah, I would really like a dark secret. That sounds fun.
Ooh. Okay. So you get to roll with 2 white die, and then you can see if you want to risk mind and body later, if you don't like the roll. Ooh.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I think I will take a risk.
Okay, so just add a dark die, and then re-roll all 3.
It's better.
Wow, and it was worth it because it's a white die. That's stronger. Will you accept the 5?
Yeah, I'll take the 5.
Yeah. So as you say this, as you start to speak more clearly, you feel like as if a breath is being taken, and then there's a gasp of some kind. And you see all of these little creatures that look very much like that one from earlier, the one who was leading the other cultists. They show up. It's like you blink and suddenly they're there, and they're all dressed very, very well in all of this decaying and rotting. But it was beautiful once. All of these beautiful robes and these tarnished pieces of jewelry, and they look kind of shocked. And they're like, "Is the party over?" "But the food was so good," says one of them. And your parents look around and they look sadly at you. What dark secret do we have? I do have an idea, but do you have an idea for what you'd like about your family?
I think, like, they've made a bargain with these creatures, and that bargain was, like, I think before I was born, they were trying to have a child and they were unsuccessful. and then they had to make a bargain with one of these creatures in order to bring me into this world.
Yeah. Do you have any other brothers and sisters, or are you an only child?
I think I'm an only child.
So what you learn is you hear all of this. You hear them murmuring to themselves about the bargain that was struck, but you also hear them say, and in exchange for this one, they kept giving us every other child after. So surely he must be special. He must be different from the rest if they're willing to give away all the other children. But as you say this, as you talk to your family, ignoring what the court gossip is here around the table, your parents, who are quite possibly not your parents, nod and sigh and say, fine, fine, go do what you must. And as you walk past and leave them behind, you start to see, like when your mother waves at you, that her hand starts to suspiciously look like a wing. And when you turn around, where your father used to be is another crow. But we are past ring 4. Mm-hmm.
Crows.
Are the crows still like talking around us? Or like cawing, but it sounds like words?
Yeah, as you move in deeper into it, because we're entering ring 5 now, aren't we? You can hear some of them starting to laugh. And they say, oh, they will not like it. They will not like it when they meet the king. And they're giggling to themselves. They think they know what they want. Ooh, but once they have it, what will happen to their own fingers? What will happen to their own hands? What will happen to their own bodies? In fact, I think, like, as they say it, you start seeing visions of what they mean. I think I'm going to need a ruin roll from everybody to see if we're able to. Unless we want to do a reduction roll right before, I'm going to give Daian a chance, because these crows would be happy to have something from you if you would like to give them something again.
I'm sure I will survive this one.
Sure. I like the confidence. Okay. So let's roll 1 dark die each. We only need to get the same number or lower.
I rolled a 1, so I'm good.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I rolled a 4. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay.
I rolled a 5. I am not good.
Oh, okay. So that brings you up to 5. Is that right? Or
4.
oh, just a 4. Okay. Yeah, we're fine. We're still good. So what happens is, as you're walking through, you can feel this pressure along your temples, and you feel like it must be a headache that's coming on. Except when you bring your hands up to your temples, you can feel something poking through the skin. And as you pass by, because here we're coming up to this part of the swamp where it's open water, you peer into the water to take a look at your reflection, and you can see that small antlers are starting to grow from your temples. But you can cover it up with a hood if you like, or...
I definitely pull my hood over that.
But yes, I would just add that to your condition. Growing antlers. But you're fine. You're okay. Okay, so we enter ring 5. So as you leave behind the party, you can hear behind the crows are still talking. You see some of the goblin little things coming around, and they're talking to each other. Oh, that was a lovely party. Yes. I quite like the entertainment this time. Yes. Those 3 travelers were quite good. And they continue walking off. And as you get closer, you can see that this part of the swamp, there are lots of large mangroves. So these huge trees that sort of like the roots sink into the water. And you can see something moving under the water. What do we see? I think I want an adjective, like a description from each person, each adventurer, of what they see that's lurking underneath the water. Do we have any ideas?
I think that whatever it is has like kind of like opalescent skin, like it's starting glimmering, like it's moonlight, but it's not because it's underwater. It's not like the reflection of the moon, but whatever it is has that sort of luminescent light thing coming.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I like that. Like it's kind of like a jewel, like moonlight, like you said. Yeah. How about from Garrett or Robert? What do we see under the water?
I think it's very unnatural. Like I think, as you know, you kind of look at it, and your mind is trying to imagine what it could be, and then as soon as you think you know what it is, you see part of it that is just like that part shouldn't be there.
Ooh, wow, that is a super good description. I like that a lot. I would probably choose that for future. I would probably steal that for a future game. Garrett, do you want to add anything to the description?
It's like this. The whole thing seems to be like inflamed. Like it looks vulnerable, but in a voluntary way, as if it likes to suffer. And it's shivering under the water, touching the skin, hurting oh so much.
Ooh, I really like that. So the three of you get all of these impressions as you see this thing moving under the water. It's difficult to get a really good look at it through it all. And as the tension starts to build in you, Daian's brother suddenly makes this huge crunching sound. And when you turn over to look, he's like biting into an apple where there's like a finger that's still sticking out. And then he just eats it and looks at the three of you like, like as if to ask, are you hungry? Would you like some?
I eat the rest from the apple, as if it was the most normal thing to do, to eat from your ghost brother.
Yeah,
Handed over apples.
Yeah, it's exactly the best combination of tart and sweet in the apple.
This is just another illusion. Come on. Kasien, just go inside and tell us that it's not real.
I want to try and use my ranger skills to like track the creature in the water.
Yes, you have a feeling because at this point you can hear the crows above telling you that the creature will lead you to the Twisted King, to his palace, to his castle where he awaits you. So let's see if you can track it. I feel like this is a skill roll because if you successfully do so, you'll be able to go straight to the king. So we start with 1 white die for your skill as a ranger. Let's see. What bargain do I have to offer? The bargain I offer you is that you will become protective of this creature. You will want to save it somehow. Do we have any other bargains from anyone else?
I think whatever you do, it will reveal the mutations, the transformations you go through to us.
Ooh, that's also pretty cool. Yeah. Anything from Robert? If not, no pressure though.
No,
Okay.
I don't have anything for this one.
Yeah, that's okay. So which one would you like to choose? To reveal a part or to grow a heart, I guess is to say like.
Oh, I think I'll take the reveal mutations one.
Yeah, that one's cool. And it really makes sense in the narrative also. So you have 2 white die. You can roll with these first to see, and
Okay.
you can push yourself after if you like.
It's a 5.
A 5 is good.
I feel like I want to do it better. So.
Ooh, sure. So why don't you add a dark die?
And reroll.
And then reroll all 3, yes.
Okay. Still probably not work.
So you can add another dark die and reroll all 4.
Why not? Because this is clearly a great idea. I should.
You can add another dark die. Oh,
yeah,
because it's still. Let me double check. I think it's still equal.
Yeah,
as long as it's not the highest. Yeah. It's not higher than the white die, so you can still re-roll and add another dark die.
This is. Oops.
No, it's over.
Yeah.
You have 5. You have a 5.
Yeah, that was what I started with.
I really love
it. Anyway.
I love this game so much. Okay, so it's 5. Is it higher than your current ruin? Okay, so your ruin
is now 5.
Oh, but this also really super makes sense with the bargain you took, because like it starts to show.
Definitely.
Yeah. So tell me what happens, like how you do this, how you're able to track it, where it leads you, and I will tell you the complication.
Okay. So I think whatever this creature is that's hard to look at, I can just sort of see like the glimmer out of the corner of my eye. But it makes ripples in the water of the swamp. And every once in a while, I can see the unnatural like ripple where it is, and so I track it like along the bank, just like following it on land as it's in the water. And I think it leads me to like a part in like the mangroves where it's like the roots, but they're all sort of torn up, and it's like a hollow there. And maybe I see a little bit more of it sticking out of the water, and so I can see how like the inflammation that it has, and that's when I know that it's probably bone.
Yeah, you can see its body like breathing heavily through the pan. But as you were following its movements, it almost feels like a ritual. It almost feels like a prayer, like as if this creature, this being, is worshiping through its pain. And so what happens is your hood falls back as you follow, because it takes all of your skill to keep up with it. It takes a while for the other 2 to even like catch up with you, but by the time they do, they see the antlers really fully growing outwards. They see your body is a little hunched over, as more of your legs start to look like that of the lower half of a deer. How do the other 2 respond?
Whoa! That's unnatural.
I just like try and cover as much.
You are becoming one of them. Cut that off.
I can't stop it.
Cut it off. I won't accompany you any longer as long as you have them. Cut them off.
It won't stop. I feel like it'll grow back even if I try. And tell me that the force has not changed you. You have.
I still look like myself. Well, a little bit older maybe. But it's still me.
I'm still me. I just apparently now have antlers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still me as well, and him. And I just point at my hand, like,
Oh, do you show them the
Whoa!
head?
yeah.
Whoa!
When you show the hand, the mouth says, "Hello, everyone."
But I mean, I'm still me. It's just I have, him too.
I'm his new friend.
I'm probably
Whoa!
more myself than our royal is, actually.
I take my dagger and step it into this hand, into this demon hand.
Ooh, are we trying to do a reduction roll?
Yes. I mean, it's
Yes.
just for the good of the party. It's because
Of
we need to,
course.
of course.
Yeah. You're just
We
helping.
can't let this demon accompany us.
Mhm.
Sorry
So
if I
just take it.
overreacted here. That's a 5. That is equal to my current ruin, which means I don't reduce, right?
Let me double check again. Gosh. Yeah, it has to be less. Wow, this is so mean. I'll say what happens is as you step forward to stab. I have this idea. Just let me know if it's too gross. Okay. The mouth opens up wider and another hand reaches out from the mouth to like grab the. Is that okay? Are we okay? Do we need to script it? Okay, we're still okay. All right. And it grabs the dagger and it throws it into the swamp, into the water. And then it slowly takes its time going back in, and you hear it go, "How dare you! I'll have you know I'm a very high-level demon."
Oh. Keep distance
Anyway,
from me and my brother.
I will help you. I will guide you the rest of the way. I have a vested interest in making sure you all succeed.
See, it's not so bad. He's quite nice, quite helpful.
Yes. Your mother says hi, by the way.
Okay, keep your ankles. This hand is much worse.
I think we must find the king. Perhaps that will solve all of these things that are happening to us.
Yeah, and so I assume we're going to move deeper into the mangroves to go to the palace, what's left of the palace of the king. Okay. And as you go in, you can, as you step through, you expect that you're going to have to walk waist deep in water, and that's true for a while. You are walking waist deep in water, but soon, as you get deeper and deeper, the water starts moving down unnaturally, as by itself. Like when you're watching, you can see the water just sort of pushing downwards into the ground. You can see that as you walk under the mangroves, there's something like a tunnel that you can step into, except the tunnel is moving like it's breathing very slowly. It feels like it's breathing along with a heartbeat that you can't hear. There's a part of this tunnel that looks almost translucent, and you can see that great animal, that great beast that you had tracked. It's moving against it. It brushes against the side of the tunnel, and you go in deeper and deeper. And as you go in, you can see there are strange things that are left behind here. Like you can see robes of the cultists here. You can find different rusted weapons. You see books and various things. It's all like strange little things. You see some toys as you keep moving forward. And then as it starts to open up, you find yourself walking into this palace. And the palace looks like it's beautiful, but it's beautiful in a very sad way. You can see parts of it decaying and rotting and falling apart, but it's still glimmering. It's still beautiful. It's still a sight to behold. There are tapestries and paintings everywhere. There are rich colors underneath all of the decay and the rust and the dust. And you can see as you walk through it, your feet just know where to take you. You know where to go. And you can see the crows all over the place, just cawing and laughing and urging you forward and urging you back all at the same time. And Daian, your brother, who is not your brother, looks at you and he finally opens his mouth and he says, if we take the hand, they will never be able to imprison us again. They will never be able to hang us again. If we take the hand, if we take the hand.
If we take the hand.
And he just nods. And you also notice, Kasien, that as you go through this castle, you can see lots of paintings that look like the governor's son. But he's in like various outfits, different ages. In one, he looks like a royal. In another, he looks like a soldier. In another, he looks like a shaman even. It's very strange. And as you walk through, you feel like the eyes of these paintings are following you as you go deeper and deeper into the castle. And for Elisio, you recognize parts of this castle. Your mother and father have often talked about what their grand castle would look like once they gain more power, more prestige. And it looks exactly like what your mother wanted, exactly like what your father wanted in this castle. And as you get deeper, all three of you come to these huge doors that you know will lead you to the throne room where the Twisted King awaits you. What do you do?
Let's hurry. There's no time to waste.
Will all of us push through at the same time?
I go first.
I also want to give everyone a chance to do a reduction roll if they like.
Well, I not only go first, I also do whatever it takes to stop the others to go first.
Ooh, okay. So I would say you notice that as you open the door, that your brother turns to you, your brother who is not your brother, and he gives you a look, like as if he's silently asking you, do you want me to take care of them?
That is your task. Take care of them. But
Okay.
Don't let yourself be caught.
So roll your reduction roll to see how it goes. Well, it just to reduce the ruin.
It goes down.
Ooh, worth
It's
it.
a 4.
Yeah, absolutely worth it. So as you step through the door, your brother who's not your brother turns around and looks at the others and starts clutching his head like as if he's in pain, and he moves towards the other two, and he's just like silently pushing the two of you back as he closes the door behind him. What did the two of you do?
I think I don't think I trust this like weird creature, because Daian was like, no, they're all my brother, but not. So I think I'm just gonna like try and shove past through the door. Just like swing my arm.
Yeah, I could say that with your skills, you should be able to know how to like. I mean, it's up to you how cruel you want to be. You should be able to take him out if you want to, just to like knock him unconscious, or you could be more mean about it. It's up to you how you want to handle it.
Oh, let's be rough about it.
Okay.
Creature.
Yeah, the only reason I'm asking for a roll is to make sure that he can't come after you and keep trying. So that's going to be one white die for whatever skill you feel is appropriate. You have quite a few.
What are my skills?
Yeah.
Beasts, hunting, and traps. I'll say this is like handling beasts.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that definitely applies. Knowing how to use your strength. So it's one white die. The bargain I offer you is that no matter what happens, you'll notice that all of those paintings where the governor's son were are going to be empty.
Oh, great.
That's my bargain. Do we have any other bargains?
You start to like your ankles.
I like that one, actually. Robert, do you have any?
No, I like that one too.
Okay. Would you take which? You can take any of the bargains, or you don't have to.
Okay. I kind of want to see what happens with the governor's son, though. Like,
Sure.
missing. So
Yeah. So that's 2 white die. We can roll it first and see if you'll risk mind and body after.
I'm not. I'll take that 5.
Okay. All right. So, you're able to. You get rough. I'll say that you. I mean, it depends how rough you want to be. Like it's up to you. I'm thinking like you take out a knife that you had, like a hunting knife, and you sort of just like pin him to the wall but through the shoulder so that he can't go after you. Does that sound about right? Like,
Oh,
yeah,
probably.
yeah. And you notice that when you do it, there are black feathers that start pouring out of the wound where blood is supposed to pour out instead. And he looks a little sad, but other than that, he is unaffected, but he is unable to go after you now because you have pinned him successfully against the wall. And so for a moment, we're going to cut to what Daian sees. I'm aware of the time. Sorry, I got so distracted by the descriptions and stuff. I think we'll finish 10 minutes after the hour. Is that okay with everybody? Yeah, so sorry. I just got sidetracked by the story. I'm usually much better at keeping track. Okay, so we cut back to our witch who has entered the throne room, and the others will join you shortly. But you don't know that now. And as you step forward, you can feel like this part of the throne room is much more pristine. It's much more beautiful than the rest of the castle. You have a feeling this is exactly what it looked like all those years ago, all those generations ago. And you can see that there's this throne all the way on the other end. It feels like a long walk. You can't exactly see what's on the throne. You can only sort of have an impression that there's someone sitting on it, but their body is slumped over. The hand is draped over the throne, and you can just hear, even from where you are, you can hear labored breathing, and you can hear a voice that says, "Are you here to help me?"
There's this long hall, and there's no time to walk over there, to run over there. It all would take too long, so I go in spirit form. I project myself straight onto the throne.
I love it. Okay, so that's 1 dark die. For the ritual, yeah, you have breathing room at 4. Ruin, so why not go for it? So you have 1 dark die, 1 white die from ritual of the skill, I think.
Yes.
I will offer you a bargain. I will say that once you project over there, you will find, because it says here that that you're a defunct priest, you will find someone you knew from the priesthood that is with the king that is assisting them. So that's my bargain. Do we have any other bargains?
The only thing I can think, and I don't know if it totally makes sense, is that as you're over there in spirit form, you kind of look back and see because you're close enough that you can see your body, and your body starts to look like your brother.
Oh, I like that though. That was also good.
I shouldn't have left my body. I like that. Yes, I want to see my brother.
Yeah.
On me.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like it. So you have 2 white die and 1 dark die to roll. So go ahead, please.
And I rolled a 5, and the equal and the dark die is equal or higher than the white die. So my ruin goes up, and I have a complication.
Ooh, okay.
But I can't roll again because it's...
Yeah.
No,
oh, wait. You can roll again, actually, if you want to, because it's tied.
Yeah.
Would you like to roll again?
Well, my ruin goes up anyway, so it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So I could actually roll as until... yeah.
Oh, but if you decide to roll again, the ruin won't move just yet, because we only take the final result you like. But yeah, I think it should still be okay with the complication. So what happens is, as you project forward, it is, as Robert said, you look back for a moment, and you remember how that thing that was following you and helping you, how its face was shifting and moving. The same thing starts to happen to your face. And you hear a voice in your head that says, I promise you, brother, just trust me. Just trust me. With my magic, we'll make it. We can be stronger than the white magic that we were taught. Just trust me. And when you project to the other side, you see the Twisted King in all his glory. And he looks a lot like the beast that is in the swamp water. His skin is opalescent. You can see the marks, the scars, the wounds on his body. When you look at him, his eyes shift and are somewhere else. When you look at him, his body moves in twisted ways that it shouldn't be able to. And you realize it looks a lot like that jerking, twitching figure that you saw earlier in the forest. And the king looks at you and offers his hand and touches your face. I'll need you to make another ruin roll to see if you can survive the experience.
We will see. I'm already on ruin 5, so don't let me roll a 6.
Yeah?
And that's a 5. I survived.
Oh, there you go. I love it. It's so thrilling. Yeah, so he places the hand on your cheek and he says, what can I give you? What will make you happier than anything?
Getting out of here with my brother and taking revenge on everybody whose fault it is that such a place exists.
And you see that as you say this, he takes one finger from his hand. And that's when you notice that he has a few fingers missing. He has like 3 fingers missing on the other hand. With this hand, what he has left, he breaks off one of his fingers and he hands it to you. And he says, but you must eat this. You must take my power into you. And he offers it towards your mouth.
I will swallow it like a little bird, taking a worm from his mother.
And as you do so, you can feel yourself becoming stronger, and you can hear the king tell you, I will make you strong strong enough to destroy all those who oppose you. I will make you strong enough to turn your heart into steel. I will make you strong enough to break all those who would try to break you.
One of them is coming.
Yeah. Ooh. And at that moment, that's when the doors open, and we see our other treasure hunters. So you see this body on the ground, but it's the same body of the brother that you saw back in the forest. It doesn't look like Daian's body, and you see on the other end the projection of Daian, and you see the shadow of the Twisted King over there. What do the two of you do?
I think I would be kind of like almost frozen at first. Like, I mean, I'm a royal, right? I don't know how to deal with these kinds of situations. And I think I would like almost subconsciously start to recite this little prayer or poem or something from my cultist days. And I think I want to use my ritual of channeling. And I think I want to allow the spirit of what's in my hand to act through me and guide me.
Yes, very good. I love this so much. So take one dark die for the ritual. Take another white die for any skill that you feel would be appropriate.
I mean, I was gonna say I could say command or even bribery. Like I could be, I could promise it something.
I like it. I like either. So it's up to you what flavor you feel is best.
Yeah, I think I would just command it. I think that makes
more sense for your character. Yeah. So that's one dark die, one white die. Let's offer a bargain. My bargain for you is that no matter what happens, you will find out that this is exactly what your parents were hoping you would do. Do we have any other bargains from the group?
I don't have a bargain, but I was wondering if I could try and do like a reduction of ruin by trying to sabotage this ritual.
Okay, I'll still let him do the ritual, but it will twist it in some way, I think. Tell me how you're going to try to sabotage it, and we'll have your reduction roll. But Robert, don't worry, you'll still do the ritual as you like. So
I was thinking that like I would try and like grab the cloak as starting the ritual and try just like yank it.
Yeah, disrupt his concentration.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so roll a die to see if it is lower than your ruin.
It is lower than my ruin.
Ooh, nice. So it was worth it. So it goes down. I will say, as a result of that disruption, when you pull at his cloak, you realize on the back of his knee, there's another mouth there. And so we know that there's more than just one spirit hanging out with our royal. Okay, so we're back to our royal. You still have the bargain that I suggested, that this is what your parents wanted you to do. Garrett, do you have an idea for a bargain? If not, it can be the only bargain we're offering.
You remember that one of the ancient creatures you once summoned when you were still part of the cult was the mouth. It was all your fault.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Will you take any of the bargains?
Yeah, I think Garrett's idea makes sense. That I have brought all this on myself.
Yeah, it's so good. Okay, so you have 3 die to roll with. Let's see how it goes.
Ooh.
Oh, 6. Wow, 6 on the white die. That is so good. Okay, tell me what happens.
Yeah, so I think I'm looking down at this hand mouth, and I'm just kind of reciting this little poem of like what to do, show me through, tell me what I must do, and then I just bring this spirit into me. And I think like physically that the weird hand mouth, like kind of twisted and gnarled, goes in place of my mouth, and where my mouth is, it's now on my hand.
I like it. I like it. And as it happens, you start changing very subtly. You were already a very handsome man, but now you're even more handsome. The eyes are just a little brighter, the hair is shinier, the features are a little more chiseled, your shoulders are larger, your posture starts to change as you feel the energy of the demon moving through you, as you start channeling it. You were able, because you were channeling the spirit, I will say that you were able to, yeah, because the demon wants you to get that hand. I'll say that you just blink and you find yourself next to the Twisted King, right there next to him. And you see that he had just like given one of his fingers. Your hand reaches out and grabs that hand that has the 4 fingers left on it, and you pull it off of his wrist to take it for yourself. Unless you want the demon to do something else.
No, I think that's good.
I definitely wanted to justify the 6. So, because 6s are hard to come by in this game. So you have most of a hand with you, but what does our ranger do? I will say though, for our ranger, before you decide, you notice that the body in front of you, the one that looks like the brother, it's covered in paint. And you can see that the paint is leading towards the side. And you can see that there are all these paintings across the hall, but they're all empty until by the 3rd or 4th painting, you can see that there used to be someone who was standing there, but now they're like lying down and all you see are their feet. And in the next one, you can see there's someone that's dragging the body closer to the Twisted King. And you can see the one who's doing the dragging is the son of the governor. What do you do?
In the painting, I guess I kind of like run over to the side where the paintings are, and I peer closer at it.
As you get closer to the painting, you can feel your head wanting to go inside of the painting. If you push any further, I'll have to ask for a ruin roll. But I will also say the son of the governor will provide you great assistance.
Oh, then I must continue.
Okay, let's see a ruin roll first to see if you're able to keep yourself together. So just roll 1 dark die, and as long as you get...
It's a 3, which
nice.
I'm still good.
Perfect. So you feel your head go into the painting, and you can hear the governor's son. Let's give him a name. His name is Alexis. Alexis says, "It took you long enough to get here. I was doing what I could to keep all of this busy. But you're falling behind. We have to get the rest of those fingers."
What are you doing? Why are you helping me?
When you say that, he looks incredibly heartbroken for a moment, and he says, You don't remember any of it? This is not the first time that we've been here in this palace."
I have no idea what you're talking about. I come to seek the hand of the king to restore my good name.
Yes, yes, and you tell me this every time. This is the 18th time you've told me this. You and your friends, you come here all the time. You go through the forest. You tell me about the witch. You tell me about the parents who are not parents. You tell me about the cultists. It's the same thing. This is the 19th time.
How do we stop it? How do we stay out in the forest?
We've tried everything. We've tried every possible combination. The only way this is going to work is if we kill the other two. It has to be them. They have to be the reason why we're stuck here.
I see. I see. Very well. Sounds like I have to do what needs to be done.
He nods and he says, okay, I'll take the one on the right and you take the one on the left.
So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think that I feel like the mouth demon man is a bit more of a threat. So I will
Yeah, fair.
draw one of my daggers and like stab through the back of the knee where I saw the other.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Try to stab.
Yeah,
Through the back of the knee.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So that feels like definitely your skill is for hunting or traps would definitely apply. So take one white die for that one. The bargain I'm offering you, the jammy bargain, is that no matter what happens, you're going to remember that you fell in love with the governor's son a long time ago. I can't help it. I have to put it once in a game. But what other bargains do we have?
It's no coincidence that you know where to step. And from whatever cycle you know that you have exactly done that before.
Ooh, like the weight of it is coming on and you start to feel you can see the different times. Ooh.
You're not breaking the cycle right now. You're still.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Robert, do we have another bargain or do we want to stick to these two?
No, I think stick to those two.
Okay, cool. I know. Do we want to take both of them? You take one die, but you mush them together. I have done that in other games where we just like. But it's up to you. What would you like?
I mean, we could do the smushing of them together, potentially. I think I want the one where I remember that I have stabbed in the past.
Yeah. And that you're still stuck in the cycle.
Yeah.
So that is 2 white die so far. And then you can decide if you want to add a dark die later on.
I don't think so. I'll take
location
of the 5.
Let's take it. I'll leave it up to you because this is like where we're getting into like PvP territory, which is normal and trophy. Because you did want to take him out, but I think let's leave it up to Robert, like how much of an out that is, and what that looks like. Is that okay with you, Robert? Does that feel fair? Yeah. So Robert, tell us what happens. Like what happens when your other mouth is stabbed with the dagger.
Yeah, I think when you stab that mouth, like sounds weird to say it, but the mouth that's on my face, like blood starts to come out of that mouth as well. And I fall to one knee and I think maybe even drop the hand that I've just reached out to and ripped off.
Yeah, I like that. That's super. I love that movement. It's so good. Yeah, and you see, because of the same thing, I will also give Garrett because we know that the other one was going to attack you. Tell me what happens to your character. Like, does he go after the spirit? Does he go after your body? Does he block you somehow?
My body is dead already.
Ooh, but the spirit is still there.
I am still in spirit form.
Yeah.
Up on the
But
throne, but my body looks
Yeah.
like my brother, but
Yeah.
it's the corpse,
Mhm,
the actual
mhm.
corpse.
Yeah. So we see the brother, the son of the governor, Alexis, is over you, and he has killed you quite mercifully, but he has still killed you. Well, just a body. You're fine. You're fine. You just need to find a new body, and you're okay. Okay. So, but technically, Daian, you have gotten the one finger. You have gained some power. You could escape now, but do you want to try to take more?
Is that me?
Yeah, sorry for you. Sorry, Garrett.
So,
My bad.
um,
For your character, Diane, you could still try to take more. You could try to escape now while you can in spirit form.
this one finger is enough for me to escape. But my journey through the forest, through the swamp, will take 100 years. And I will see a lot of travelers passing by me, while me, as a restless soul, is walking and walking and walking. Don't know how sane my mind will still be when I reach the end of the swamp. But I will be there one day and find a new body.
I like that. I like that a lot. How about for our royal, for Elisio? Are you going to try to get the hand back? Are you going to try to fight off your fellow treasure hunter who had just betrayed you?
Um, I think I would. I think Elisio being a royal is kind of spiteful, and I think he will leave the hand um, for Kasien, thinking that the hand will be a greater curse than anything I could have done.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, because we can say that for sure. Um, Cassian is distracted, and it'll give you an opportunity to get away. Is that what we like to do?
Yeah, I think, I mean, because at this point, I think, I've learned enough that I can publish my discoveries. I don't know who will believe me, but yeah, I think I would just try to get away with what is left of my sanity intact.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So you're able to do it because the demon takes over your body and says it is more important to survive, I suppose. But we will not leave empty-handed. You hear, and so the demon will insist on taking at least one of the fingers from the other hand. You can try to dump the finger in the forest later, but when you leave the palace, when you leave the castle, he's going to ensure you have it on your person.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and so last we see Cassian standing there. What the spirit has disappeared. You grab the hand that has 4 fingers on it, and Alexis is standing next to you, and he says, "My love, you did it! You did it! We've broken the cycle."
in, like between the hand and Alexis and goes, with this, I can return to your father. And perhaps he'll return us to our standing.
When you say that, he looks at you, and the Twisted King looks at the two of you as well. And Alexis says, "No, my love. One of us has to stay, and it shall be me. You must go back and take care of my father as you promised." And even as he touches the king, and you can see his body is starting to shift and turn like the Twisted King, and you realize that it has not been one king over the years. It has been a series of kings that sit on this throne. Are you going to let him?
I kind of want to try and like take him with me.
Yeah.
Potentially by using my ritual of binding
The Twisted King. Yeah.
the Alexis.
Oh, I see.
To me, somehow.
Yeah, I like this idea. Besides, you have the runes to spare, so we can fit in this last row for sure. Let's go for it. So that's one dark die, and you have, if you have any skill that you feel applies.
Unless like my skill of traps leads me to be good at like tying rope.
Yeah. Or even like reflexes, like you can do it quick enough before. Yeah, I definitely agree. So we can add in traps. I'm going to offer you a very simple bargain. Doing this, you will feel, no matter what happens, you're always going to feel guilty about what you did to the king that you had to leave here on the throne. You will dream about it in the years to come. So that's my bargain. Do we have any other bargains on the table?
My bargain is, you don't feel guilty, and you know you should.
Oh, that's so good. Do we have any from Robert?
I think by not letting him replace the king, like the power of the hand slowly starts to fade.
Ooh. Oh, these are all good. So which one would you like? You don't have to take any though.
I kind of like the fading power. It makes it a little better.
Yeah, I like it too.
So that's an extra white die.
Yeah, so you have 2 white die and a dark die. Let's see how it goes.
That's a 4.
Are we keeping the 4 on the dark die?
Do I have to, right?
Well, oh yeah, that's right, because it's the highest. That's right, that's right. So you have a 4, which is still, you succeed with a complication. Your ruin goes up to 5, is that right?
Yes.
And I'll say the way that it looks is that your face starts to change and shift to look more. It's not quite like full on deer, but the eyes are larger and the face of your shape is different. It's more tapered. But you were able to bind him to you, and you see Alexis look shocked at the audacity of what you've done. But you are successful. You were able to save him from the fate that he chose from himself, and you leave behind the Twisted King in his throne room. And you do take with you the rest of the hand. So I feel like we're going to go into epilogue for sure. I feel like we have a good idea of what happened to our witch who spends 100 years reaching the front of the swamp. What what glimpse do we have of our other characters? What happens to them after they leave? I kind of want to leave Kasien for last. So, Elisio, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I think Elisio goes home, and publishes his findings. A lot of people don't believe it, though I think the stuff he publishes becomes like very, very popular amongst cultists. And I think he keeps that finger, and he kind of uses it to like the palace or the castle where he lives with his parents, like their royal castle. Like over time, it starts to resemble the castle of the Twisted King, almost like he's trying to bring some of that power, or to create his own twisted kingdom of sorts, along with that demon that still resides in him.
Yeah, and I will say as part of the wish, your parents never talk to you about it, and they never bring it up. But you notice that your mother has a mouth on the back of her neck. And you notice that your father has one by his shoulder, but they never talk to you about it. It's an unspoken secret. And how about for, I feel like, do we want to say what happens to Daian's brother maybe? Because do we have an idea about that? Or do we want to leave it up to mystery?
He would be found dead in his cell in exactly the position of the throne room corpse. Too much spiritual connection going on here.
Yeah, I like it. And we see in the cell, one of those goblin creatures says, "Oh, well, I suppose the contract still stands." And he picks up the body and leaves the cell. And last but not least, what happens to to Kasien?
I think Kasien goes back to the governor with the governor's son and the hand. And I don't know if the antlers are like gradually receding.
Oh, I would say that sorry, my partner's offering me dinner. Anyway, I would say that as you leave the forest, it's almost like a ghost limb situation. You feel like the antlers are still there. You feel like the hooves are still there, but when you look down, that's not the case. Other people just think you walk a little funny, but to other people, they don't see it. And when you look down, you don't see it, but you feel like they're there.
So, okay, that makes it a little easier. I think then Kasien presents the governor with like the hand and his son and says, "Look, I've returned from my quest. I've saved your son from a particularly terrible fate." And basically just tries to like convince him that whatever initial, like I think maybe I was a disinherited no because people frowned upon our connection. And I'm just like, look, I made up for that now. Please let me be one of your nobles again.
Yeah, and I'll say that the reason why the connection was frowned upon was because you weren't considered like high enough noble, like not from the right lineage, like that sort of situation. And so I will say that he surprisingly agrees, and very quickly. He doesn't even think about it. And later on, you notice that he keeps his gloves on, and he never removes them, no matter how hot it gets. But years down the line, you notice that he has a mouth in one of his hands. Are we good with saying that this is where our story ends for our three adventurers? Right. So I'm super glad we made it out of the forest with are mostly intact. Mostly, pretty good. The forest let you go. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'll stop the recording and then we'll go into debrief. But for anybody who's watching, thank you so much for watching. All our players were super amazing. I'm sure you'll enjoy the story that we told tonight. So thank you so much. Bye.